Hi, and welcome to Confluence Conversations, the podcast where we explore impactful topics shaping education, communities, and student success. I'm your host, Haley Bruick, and I'm excited to bring you another insightful discussion today. Our goal with this podcast is to engage in meaningful conversations with experts, educators, and change makers who are working to make a difference. Through these discussions, we aim to inform, inspire, and provide valuable resources for students, parents, and educators alike. Today, we're spotlighting an inspiring organization that's transforming lives by focusing on the need of potential girls, the Sophia Project. Through membership, education, and healing-centered engagement, the Sophia Projects help young women in our community build the confidence, resilience, and leadership skills they need to succeed. To help us dive into this powerful work, I'm honored to welcome our guest, Dawn Price, founder and CEO of the Sophia Project. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm great.
Great. Awesome. So tell us a little bit, let's start with your background. Tell us a little bit how you got here.
How did I get to? That's really funny. That always gets me a little bit in trouble. So I'll tell you that I wanted to do ministry work that was a little bit unconventional. And when I was in seminary, I learned about the word Sophia. I knew I wanted to serve girls, but the word Sophia means wisdom, and I really couldn't shake that word. And when I was around a bunch of other young women, I just kept saying, I really want to start the Sophia Project. I really want to start the Sophia Project. I was in Atlanta at that time, and we were all young, and we were trying to figure out how we could take the resources that we had to help each other start our nonprofits or do whatever it is that we dreamed of seeing ourselves in the world doing to make change. And that was kind of my beginning.
That's great. So when did the Sophia Project start? So that's what motivated you. When and how did it start?
Well, it started in 2011. I was kind of like at an impasse in my career in ministry. I was a chaplain at a hospital. I was wrapping up my residency, and my dad liked to be an agitator. I did a lot of community work in Atlanta. I was kind of like the connector to the church and the community with people, and my dad would be like, you need to start your own nonprofit. And he likes to agitate for movement, but when it really becomes a reality, it gets a little scary. So I thought to myself, the only place that I really could focus and not feel distracted was to move back to St. Louis and do the work. So I moved back home into my childhood house with my parents, and we were all grown together. And I began to do boots on the ground of networking with people that I knew in St. Louis to build the Sophia Project. And I started with Confluence Old North and Brittany Woods Middle School with about 45 eighth graders.
And what are you at now? What's your growth?
Well, right now, our in-school sessions are not as big as they used to be, just post-COVID. But we still do a lot of our programs and even more than what we did in the offset. So we probably serve about 100 kids a week, but we serve more than that with some of our community outreach programs like Self-Care Saturday and Girl Talk and International Day of the Girl. So my focus used to be just to make sure that I had school partnerships and our community-based programming on Friday night. But now, after COVID, I really kind of expanded my thought process about how we make points of contact with students to expose them to what is the most important pillars for the Sophia Project. And so that's how we came to do the different community outreach programs like Girl Talk, International Day of the Girl, and Self-Care Saturday.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Well, let's start with what's the mission of the Sophia Project?
The mission really is to work with girls who I deem as vulnerable. So we came up with a criteria. One of my old principals was like, there's a lot of competitors out here when I first started the Sophia Project. And so you really need to focus on the people that people really don't want to work with. And so we came up with the kids who typically don't get pulled out of class or selected for things because they probably have some disciplinary or behavior issues. So as the evolution of the Sophia Project has happened, because in the beginning, it was 2.5 or below, a history of suspensions, poor attendance, or students who just needed additional help. And then I would take those students and, of course, do programming with them inside the school system. We make a pledge to them in 8th grade that we would follow them from 8th grade until they graduate from high school. And the first Confluence class we graduated was in 2016. Those babies are like 24 now and 25, and they have their own families and careers now. That sounds very crazy to me.
And you still follow up with them?
Yes, they follow me all the time, everywhere I go. And even when they feel like they still need mentorship, I still make points of contact with them as well.
So this is like forever.
It's forever. We said it was just from 8th grade until graduating high school, but it's been
lied.
We're in a long-term relationship.
That's awesome.
We're family.
That is great.
And so I had a point. Did we get lost in translation?
Well, we're just the mission is where the prompting question.
So I was going to say we would just keep that continuum of care there. And on Friday nights, we would put all of our schools together. And they would work on the same things that we were teaching them in the in-school session. Really a lot of those vulnerable outliers that kids have with having healthy norms at school is because they have a hard time with conflict and healthy relationships. So when we're in the in-school session, we're teaching them how to regulate themselves, how to have healthy conflict. But then what you get an opportunity to do on Friday night is put that into play, because you put them with other kids that they normally wouldn't interact with, from city kids to charter school kids to county kids. They're all a modge podge of children. And then you put them with professional women who typically would not interact with these children at all. They might not even come from the same background. And then we go into a bunch of chaos to become a norm group. But I was going to say to you is that my mentors used to help me pick up. In the beginning, it was very grassroots. They would help me pick up the kids who didn't have access to transportation to get those kids to programming on Friday nights. And one day I looked up and we had a carpool line. And I was like, where did the carpool line for kids come from? And mothers decided that all girls are at risk, that my little 4 points of criteria were not going to limit their kids to access to the opportunity. And so while you might think that's my starter of the conversation, my primary audience, but I have kids who go to private school. I have kids, who are driving all the way from St. Charles to participate in our Friday night programming. So.
Okay, so break it down for me. Like, you start within the school with the guidance or whoever to recommend students, but really anyone, like, you push into the school and you have a Friday night thing?
Well, the school program is limited. Principals, teachers, and administrators get to pick who they feel like could use the intervention.
So that's the identification.
They get to establish who those people are. Now, every now and then, once programming gets going, kids decide that they want to enroll themselves. I've had that too. I think at University City, I had the counselor and I identified some kids one year. I told them I was going to drop the permission slips off at the secretary's office, and everybody went and got a permission slip.
Wow, that's awesome. Is that word of mouth? That's just like, that's great.
Well, I think that what we do know when we went in terms of mentoring and just serving children, especially children who have some trauma or are in the midst of something, they know when they need additional support systems. And so their friends share that information, like when they're asking for counseling or they're in a crisis, they're like, hold on a second, I'm going to circle you in with this conversation with Ms. Dawn, or you really need to be a part of the Sophia Project. So students make referrals to other students based on what they feel like could help them move beyond their circumstance.
There's nothing better than that, like a personal recommendation. So what is a Friday night? So you have students, you reach out, they come aboard. They're part of the Sophia Project.
They are initially a part of the Sophia Project. So the school chooses the students first.
Okay.
And it's my responsibility or my team's responsibility within that 8-month period to help the children choose us. So that because we're getting ready to be in a long-term relationship. So just because you've been recommended to be a part of the program doesn't mean you'll ever make step 2. Step 1 that's the easy part. I come in the middle of the school day. I come with snacks. We have a great time. We cry together. You don't have any responsibility. But step 2 is when I can get you to participate in our after school program. And you have to choose that part. You have to go home and advocate for yourself. You have to get your parents fully engaged in this intervention and that you're part of the process now. And just to think about us building a long-term relationship that would last 4 to 5 years.
Okay. And how, that transportation piece and the showing up, like I just know from personal experience outside of school.
It's a humongous hurdle. Even if they have access to transportation, it's still a hurdle because you then have to get your parents to say yes. Like, I have to get the parents to buy in that this is something important to the kid. I have to get the kids to get their parents on board that this is something I really want to do. It's a humongous hurdle. It's a lot of work.
Right. Sounds like it. So once you get that, how does the breakdown of a Friday night or an after school, what are they learning? What are they doing?
Well, Friday night is, we call it Keep It Safe and Sacred. That's what KISS means. I love it when kids go home and say, Mom, I want to go to KISS. And they're like, what are you talking about? But Keep It Safe and Sacred is their space. They take ownership of it. And I really do hold those boundaries for them. You know, like sometimes parents want to come in and observe, or if you said, Ms. Dawn, I really want to see what you do, I always say we don't have observers, we only have participants. So that means that you're willing to be vulnerable in the space and tell people your first kiss or your first crush. Like, you've got to make a deposit in order to be part of our community. You can't just observe the information. But there's a few things that we do no matter where we are. So some soft skills that the kids have to learn in order to be a part of the Sophia Project is to learn how to introduce themselves. So each girl in the Sophia Project, whether she's at the Grand Art Center or Old North, she has to be able to say, my name is Dawn Price. I go to Confluence, Old North. I want to be a nurse when I grow up. And today my day was great. Like a soft skill about introductions. But then I want you to repeat that same exercise when you get amongst the other 40 girls from different schools, is that you've got to learn how to network, introduce yourself. I tell them all the time, these soft skills that we teach you are some that you will take with yourself for the rest of your life. And so learn how to be great. Learn how to walk in the room and be great. Because I tell them when I walk in the hallways and you are repeating Sexy Red, you are not being bashful. So I want you to cast your dreams in front of all these women, and we're going to hold safe space that those dreams will come true. Tell me who you want to be and who you are. Like, learning that is one of our really important disciplines. And we do icebreakers so that they can learn how to build relationships with the other girls. I feed them really good. We have a caterer that cooks for us, so they have dinner together. And typically we have some activity that is about our pillars. So if it's a self-care exercise, water aerobics might be because we partner with the YMCA. So water aerobics might be part of it. Right now we're practicing for the pearling ceremony, so they're learning etiquette. So it's funny how we go from whatever all the other things we've done for the last 7 months, and now they're learning how to curtsy and being very silly at it. But and they're learning how to get dressed up and prepare themselves to be at a event. So everybody's getting a little black dress and a strand of pearls. And on May the 4th, for all the time that they've spent in the last 8 months working on their attitude, or working on how to overcome being shy, or, learning something new and having some willingness to do that. So it's all about exposure and just pushing them on Friday nights.
Okay, and you mentioned the pillars.
Yes.
7 pillars, you said?
There are 4.
4 pillars.
Yes.
What are the 4 pillars?
Scholarship, social grace, self-care, and self-efficacy.
Okay, and then do you have curriculum around that?
We do. Okay. And we get in the war room. July is war room time every year to build out what the schedule looks like and the curriculum looks like. We have a journal book with prompts and all of the things. A self-regulation kit for them. We may have not had it 14 years ago, but we're rolling now.
So it's basically a school year, right?
Yes.
And but you said it's a forever.
Well, we do programming starting the first Friday after Labor Day is when we kick off for the in-school session, as well as the Friday Night Kiss program. Mm-hmm. And in the summertime, we do something called Urban Girl Institute, which typically lasts about 2 months, June and July, but this year it's only going to be for the month of June. Okay. And then I get to take a break in July and August. Well, August break. July is war room time.
Okay. Well, sounds like you could use that break, right? Like,
I really could.
Etiquette, yes.
I take the whole month of August and trying to take a nap. I tell people, if you love me, you'll let me sleep.
Yeah.
In August.
But if they need you, your phone will be ringing, I guess. I'm guessing from what the sound.
But I went to Jamaica for a week one year, and my reception wasn't good. And I was like, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to talk. Whatever crisis you have, you're going to have to put the fire out yourself.
It'll wait.
Yeah.
Do you have other social workers or trained professionals? Is it you?
We have a staff. We have some program facilitators that work with us, and once a month We have a social worker that comes in and her team, and they do individualized one-on-ones with the girls as well as group work with them. Melissa Douglas is our therapist that's on duty with us. And we have a team of mentors that help us execute Friday Night Kiss, as well as some program facilitators.
Okay. What do you have any kind of like a success story that conveys the impact you're having or the difference you're making?
We have lots of success stories, but I'll give you a Confluence success story. Just recently, I went to Paul Mitchell to see one of Confluence's graduates graduate from hair school. Her name is Abrielle Clark. I was really proud to see Abrielle, and then when I walked in there were other girls from Sophia Project, really proud to see her graduate as well. But the entire time that she was here, as well as in middle school, she wanted to be a hairdresser. It took her a little bit longer to achieve her goal, but I was like, I'm going to be there. And her mother was like, I want you to be there too. That's so funny. But just being able to see her cross the finish line. But we used to have a group at Confluence Walnut Park before it became Aspire. And I used to call those girls my Black Diamonds because they were in some of the, Walnut Park is one of those places to be desired. But those girls were like so hungry. And so one of them graduated from Dillard last year. She's working in communications, actually. I'm really proud of her. But another one of those young ladies is in dental school in Kansas City. And every time she posts and is talking about her journey to becoming a dentist, I'm like, I remember when we were sitting in that little classroom doing all of the things and doing that introduction and casting her dream. And now it's becoming a reality. So
that's great. That's really rewarding.
It is.
Awesome.
It is. I like to see them thriving.
Right. How does someone get involved? Like, do they have to start at the beginning of the year? Or, I know that counselors recommend, but let's say someone's hearing about this and they want to be part of it. They want to be a member.
If someone wants their child to be enrolled for the fall, there is, if you just go to my drop down to be a part of our out of school time program, KISS, the open enrollment for 25-26 is here. I really hate to say that I'm planning for 2026. That really is, it's just a Debbie Downer. But it's my reality, so that I have to consider other people. But if they go to Keep It Safe and Sacred, there's a whole page that tells you about who we are and what we do for the out-of-school time programming. If there was someone who wanted to engage us, that wanted to mentor with the Sophia Project, there is a page on our website called Join Us. And we're going to do a mentor marathon on July the 9th, where you can meet us at Levels Restaurant from 5 to 7, and we'll tell you all about the mentoring opportunities that we'll have for the fall. That just sounds like, a Debbie Downer, all that planning early in life.
No,
I used to be a lot more spontaneous in my life.
I'm sure you are in the moment, but you have to plan for this. And we can put in the show notes, we can put those links so people can find you.
Absolutely.
What are we forgetting? What do people need to know about the Sophia Project, or what do you need from maybe our audience?
I just want people to know that if educators and teachers are watching this, that it's a movement that we do together. Like, even though I'm not an educator in the traditional sense, I'm supporting kids getting back into classrooms, establishing healthy norms in terms of academics, and even when they have a tough time, like making a connection with a strong teacher. Like, sometimes they'll tell me in group that her attitude and my attitude are not going to connect, or they don't use the word connect. They say things like not going to work. And I say things to them like, all I hear you saying is that she's a strong woman and I'm a strong woman. So then, but she has an 8th grade diploma or a high school diploma. So then how do you bridge the communication gap between the two of you? And it's just, I feel like it's my sole responsibility to teach them those soft skills on how overcoming conflict and rebuilding relationships when you really do need something from the other person is a survival skill that you will actually need for your life. But just let's all participate together. Let's be a part of the movement and transforming these young women's lives together.
Yeah, I mean, hearing you, it's a shame that there's not a class in school, because we need these soft skills. We need this ability, especially today, I think. It's rough out there. And relationships and opinions and everything. We need you. We need the Sophia Project. So I think that's awesome.
We're having our annual pearling ceremony on May the 4th. It will be at City Hall from 3 to 5 p.m. So if you all want to come out and support, bring out your little black dress and be with the girls. It's going to be amazing.
It's open to the public?
It's open to the public. You can go on our website under events and you'll find all the information there.
Okay, fabulous. What a great way to see you guys and everyone who's had success. How many graduates do you have this year?
It's not all of my in-school kids. It's just my Friday Night Kiss girls, and it's about 28 girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're graduating from your program. Does that mean they're graduating as seniors?
No, I have 3 graduating seniors this year. But though every year the girls are in our program, they get to participate in the ceremony until they graduate.
Okay.
So every year it's just I like to call it our culminating event.
Does anyone feel like they don't need to continue the following year?
Sometimes they, for different reasons, life changes, they can't continue to engage. But for the most part, once you're in our program, the continuum of care happens. It just kind of rolls. Parents learn that this is what we do. I have plenty of kids who there's a sibling waiting. Like one of my graduating seniors, her sister's in 8th grade. She's not been in the program for the last 2 years, but she has a 10-year-old sister that is at the edge of her seat waiting for her time. And so it's just a part of their family's dynamics now that everybody knows they do Friday Night Kiss on Friday nights.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, thank you for being here. We do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime. And for those of you listening, like we mentioned, we will have all the links and websites listed in the show notes. And if you would like to catch other Confluence Academies podcast, just go to where you listen to podcasts and be sure to subscribe to Confluence Conversations and have a great day.